Find out within 30 days if the city will go through the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history.
Emergency Manager Kevin Orr telling creditors the city is no longer making payments on its unsecured debt. That money is being conserved to pay for essential services. Creditors are being asked to take about 10 cents on the dollar of what the city owes them. We have Team 7 coverage, starting with Andy Choi showing us a closer look at Orr's plan. But let's begin now with 7 Action News reporter Cheryl Choden live in Detroit, where safety is the top concern in the city. Cheryl.
Well, Glenda, absolutely. There's no question everyone wants a safer city. Kevin Orr, the mayor, city council, most of all, the people of Detroit. So while Kevin Orr was talking today about spending maybe more than $1 billion on public safety, a group of police officers and people were doing something to make a difference.
We're doing the crime walk.
They took to the streets of one Detroit neighborhood tonight. Volunteers, community activists, police officers, members of a local church organization, all with one thing in mind, making the city a safer place to live.
It is. It's really important. I think it'll make us all feel safer.
I think it's beautiful, you know, that everybody's sticking together and doing certain things for the neighborhood.
This anti-crime walk coming just hours after Emergency Manager Kevin Orr said he wants to spend $1.25 billion on city services, much of it on public safety.
That's a very good thing to hear because, as you know, the #1 concern in any major metropolitan area, particularly here, is public safety.
These crime safety walks are important so that we can show the community that we still care.
As they walked, they passed out information about block clubs. They even handed out light bulbs to people whose porch lights had not been working. We walked along with a group of about 40 for about a mile, passing abandoned homes and blight in a neighborhood that was once beautiful, says Michael Callahan, who has lived in his home for more than 40 years and has worked hard to keep the gangs and dealers out.
Everything on both sides of the street, up and down the street, with drug dealers.
If Kevin Orr's proposal on public safety becomes a reality, things should get better, including police and EMS response time, which most agree is often way too slow.
Quicker response is the whole thing. I would love to see when something happens, we pulling up in the next 10 minutes. That's what I would love to see.
The walkers say they'll be doing this again in 2 weeks and again 2 weeks after that. And they felt very positive and very good when they were done, and they will do it again, as I said, in 2 weeks. Here at Central District, they're very involved with the community. If you would like to take part in one of these walks, call the Central District here on Woodward and Graham Boulevard. In Detroit, I'm Cheryl Choden, 7 Action News.
Okay, Cheryl, thank you very much. We now turn to Andy Choi with analysis from a bankruptcy attorney. Andy, good evening. Did he see any surprises from today's meeting?
Go. Bankruptcy attorneys say there was really nothing surprising coming out of the meeting, at least for them. The shock, of course, coming from the sheer number of potential concessions, but Orr said it after the meeting himself, the kind of normal Detroit has gotten used to is going to change.
This is not a jaded effort just to go through the process to get to a bankruptcy filing. I sincerely want people to behave rationally.
Emergency Manager Kevin Orr has drawn the line in the sand. Creditors at Orr's presentation learned payments to them would be cut off. Hard hits were on the horizon. Analysts say the big question now is, do the creditors believe in avoiding bankruptcy as much as the EM?
He's got to keep hopes up that he can resolve it without a bankruptcy, but at the same time, he also has to be preparing for the possibility that they'll not be able to reach a compromise.
The linchpin in negotiations could be employee pension funds. More than half the city's $17 billion debt is owed to city employee pension and underfunding health care. Those unsecured debts will get around 10 cents on the dollar, but employee pension reps have set aside $5 million to fight on behalf of the 30,000 active and retired employees.
I really think a resolution with the pension is absolutely necessary for the city to avoid the bankruptcy. The fact that they've set aside $5 million, I think, is wise planning on their part, just to plan for the worst case.
Creditors have a week or so to digest the hundreds of pages of numbers before very tough decisions are made.
You would think that a rational person would have to step back and say this is not normal, I don't want bankruptcy. I want to make an adjustment. It's going to be hard.
And we reached out to Mayor Dave Bing for comment on the EM's plans. The mayor declining our request, saying he doesn't want to step on the EM's toes at this critical juncture of negotiations. Now, operationally, we know there are plenty of hits coming for city workers. It's why the EM has planned a meeting just for them this Thursday. We are live in Detroit. Andy Choi, 7 Action News. Glenda?
All right, we'll see what that meeting brings. Thank you so much, Andy. And stay with 7 Action News and WXYZ.com and the 7 Action News app for the latest developments in the Detroit financial crisis.